The man who laughed as security dragged a poor applicant out of a billionaire's company had no idea that within the next 24 hours, he would be begging that same man for forgiveness. Sometimes, life gives you only one golden opportunity. The question is, will you recognize it before it's too late? Before we begin, tell us in the comments where you're watching from. We'd love to know. And if you enjoy emotional stories with unforgettable twists, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications because you won't want to miss what's coming next. Daniel Brooks wasn't born poor. He wasn't born unlucky either. As a child, he believed hard work could solve almost anything. His father taught him that. Every morning before sunrise, his father would place a hand on Daniel's shoulder and say, "Son, opportunities don't always knock twice. When they come, hold on with both hands." Daniel believed every word. He studied harder than anyone in school. His grades were outstanding. His teachers predicted he would become one of the country's greatest engineers. Everything seemed to be falling perfectly into place. Then tragedy arrived without warning. One rainy evening, his father's truck was struck by a speeding driver. The accident took his life instantly. In a single night, Daniel lost more than a father. He lost the family's only source of income. Hospital bills, funeral expenses, mortgage payments. Debt collectors began appearing almost immediately. At just 21 years old, Daniel became the head of the family. His dreams quietly packed their bags and disappeared. Instead of attending university every morning, he woke before dawn to wash cars. During the afternoon, he delivered groceries. At night, he unloaded heavy boxes at warehouses until his hands bled. Every dollar he earned went toward keeping his mother alive. Years passed. Friends graduated, built careers, bought homes, started families. Daniel stayed exactly where life had left him. But every night, before turning off the lights, he whispered the same sentence. "God, I don't need 100 chances, just one golden opportunity." He never imagined that prayer was about to be answered, just not the way he expected. It was an ordinary Tuesday morning. Daniel was cleaning mud from an expensive SUV. His phone vibrated inside his pocket. He almost ignored it. Unknown numbers usually meant another unpaid bill. Finally, he answered. A calm voice spoke. "Good morning. Is this Daniel Brooks?" His heart skipped. "Yes. We're calling from Sterling Dynamics." Daniel froze. Sterling Dynamics wasn't just another company. It was the largest technology corporation in America. Thousands dreamed of working there. Very few ever did. "We're pleased to inform you that you've been selected for the final interview." Daniel looked around in disbelief. Surely, they had the wrong person. The recruiter continued. "Over 30,000 applications were submitted. You are one of the final 3 candidates." Daniel couldn't breathe. One interview, one opportunity. Everything he'd prayed for was suddenly real. When the call ended, he stood silently beside the SUV. Then, without caring who was watching, he cried. Not because he was hired, because someone finally believed in him. There was only one problem. Daniel couldn't even afford clothes for the interview. His best friend, Marcus, opened his tiny closet. "I only have one suit. It doesn't fit me very well." "It definitely won't fit you, but it's yours." Daniel smiled. Together, they ironed every wrinkle. They polished old shoes until they reflected light. His mother carefully adjusted his tie. With trembling hands, she whispered, "Your father would be so proud today." Daniel hugged her tightly. Neither of them noticed the tear quietly falling down her cheek. Sterling Dynamics headquarters towered above the city. Glass walls, luxury cars, perfectly dressed executives. Daniel immediately felt out of place. His oversized suit attracted curious glances. Some employees smiled politely. Others laughed quietly. He ignored them. Nothing could steal today. Until someone recognized him. Ryan Collins. his former university classmate, the same man who had mocked Daniel after he dropped out. Ryan walked over with an arrogant smile. "Daniel, I thought you disappeared. What are you doing here?" Before Daniel could answer, Ryan looked at the worn shoes, the oversized suit, the faded briefcase. Then he laughed loudly. "You actually think this company hires people like you?" Nearby employees turned to look. Daniel lowered his eyes. Ryan wasn't finished. He called security. "I think this man is in the wrong building." Security approached. Without asking questions, they escorted Daniel toward the exit. His interview was about to end before it even began. Just as the security guards reached the revolving doors, a calm voice echoed through the grand lobby. "Let him go." The entire room fell silent. The guards immediately stepped aside. Ryan turned around, confused. Walking toward them was an elderly man in a perfectly tailored navy blue suit. His silver hair was neatly combed. His posture was confident. He didn't need to raise his voice. His presence alone commanded respect. Every employee in the lobby straightened their posture. Some lowered their heads. Others whispered nervously. It was none other than Jonathan Sterling, the billionaire founder and CEO of Sterling Dynamics. Ryan's confident smile instantly disappeared. "Sir, I was only trying to protect the company," he stammered. Jonathan didn't even look at him. His eyes remained fixed on Daniel. For several long seconds, he simply stared, as though he recognized something no one else could see. Then he smiled, a small, almost nostalgic smile. "Daniel Brooks, I've been waiting for you." Daniel blinked. "I'm sorry, sir. I think you've mistaken me for someone else." Jonathan slowly shook his head. "No, I never forget a promise." Those words sent a chill through Daniel's body. He had never met this man before. Or had he? Jonathan turned toward the security guards. "This young man is our honored guest. Escort him to the executive conference room." Then, without another word, he walked toward the private elevators, leaving behind a lobby full of stunned employees. Ryan's face turned pale. He suddenly realized the poor applicant he had just humiliated was personally known by the company's founder. The executive conference room overlooked the entire city. Floor-to-ceiling windows stretched across the walls. Daniel had never seen anything like it. Moments later, Jonathan Sterling entered carrying an old leather folder. He placed it gently on the table. Then he opened it. Inside were faded photographs. One of them immediately caught Daniel's attention. His heart nearly stopped. It was his father, standing beside a much younger Jonathan Sterling. Both of them were covered in grease, laughing beside an old pickup truck. Daniel looked up in disbelief. "You knew my father?" Jonathan smiled sadly. "Knew him. He saved my life." Daniel couldn't speak. Jonathan slowly sat down. 26 years ago, I wasn't a billionaire. I was just another young engineer trying to build a company. My truck broke down on an isolated highway. I had no money, no phone, no help. Your father stopped. He spent 6 hours repairing my truck. When I offered to pay him, he refused. Jonathan's eyes became misty. He said something I'll never forget. "One day, if you're ever blessed enough to help someone else, don't pay me back. Pay it forward." Jonathan closed the folder. "I built this company. I became successful, but I never found him again. Until last week." Daniel's voice trembled. "He died 5 years ago." Jonathan lowered his head. "I know. I visited his grave. I promised him, if I ever found his family, I would keep my word." Tears filled Daniel's eyes. For the first time since losing his father, it felt as though a part of him had returned. Jonathan pushed a folder across the table. Daniel expected technical questions, engineering formulas, complex calculations. Instead, Jonathan closed the folder. "I've already read your qualifications. I don't want to know what's on paper. I want to know who you became after life broke you." The room became silent. Daniel took a deep breath. He spoke honestly. About losing his father. About abandoning college. About working 3 jobs. About nights when there wasn't enough food for both him and his mother. About pretending he wasn't hungry, so she could eat. Jonathan listened without interrupting. Then he asked quietly, "When life treated you unfairly, did you ever hate the world?" Daniel thought for a long moment. "I was angry. I cried. I questioned everything. But my father always taught me, bitterness steals tomorrow. So I kept believing." Jonathan smiled. "And if this company rejects you today?" Daniel looked out the window. "I'll cry. I'll go home. And tomorrow, I'll start again." Jonathan leaned back in his chair. That answer told him everything he needed to know. An hour later, every executive gathered inside the company's auditorium. Ryan stood confidently among them. Certain Daniel had already been rejected. Jonathan stepped onto the stage. "I have an announcement. The newest executive development manager of Sterling Dynamics is Daniel Brooks." The room erupted into applause. Ryan's smile disappeared. Jonathan raised one hand. "But first, we need to discuss something." Large security screens lit up behind him. Security footage filled the room. Everyone watched Ryan mocking Daniel, calling security, laughing, treating another human being like he was worthless. The auditorium fell silent. Jonathan spoke calmly. "Skills can be taught. Character cannot." He turned toward Ryan. "You didn't fail because you removed a visitor. You failed because you judged a man before learning his story." Ryan's eyes filled with regret. "I'm sorry." Jonathan interrupted him gently. "Don't apologize to me." Ryan slowly walked toward Daniel. His voice shook. "I'm ashamed. I judged you by your clothes. I forgot that every successful person once started somewhere." Daniel looked at him quietly. Then, to everyone's surprise, he extended his hand. "I forgive you." The room became silent once again. Jonathan smiled. That moment, more than any resume, confirmed he had chosen the right man. Life changed quickly. Daniel finally returned home, not with another rejection letter, but with an employment contract. When he handed it to his mother, she read it twice, then 3 times, before collapsing into tears. For several minutes, neither of them spoke. They simply hugged. Months later, Daniel paid off every debt. He bought his mother a beautiful home with a garden she had always dreamed of. She no longer worried about hospital bills or overdue payments. For the first time in years, she laughed without pretending everything was okay. Jonathan Sterling watched all of this with quiet pride. But Daniel wasn't finished. Every time he looked at his father's old toolbox, he remembered the promise: pay it forward. So he created the Thomas Brooks Opportunity Scholarship. Every year, students forced to leave school because of financial hardship received full scholarships. Many of them believed their dreams had ended, just like Daniel once had. Now, someone believed in them, exactly when they needed it most. Within 5 years, thousands of young people graduated because one struggling son refused to forget where he came from. Years later, Daniel stood on a stage before hundreds of scholarship recipients. Some were crying. Others held acceptance letters in trembling hands. Daniel smiled. "I used to think success meant becoming rich. I was wrong. Success is becoming the person who opens doors for others." He paused, looking toward the front row. His mother's eyes were filled with tears. Beside her sat Jonathan Sterling, the man who had kept a promise made decades earlier. Daniel continued, "My father once repaired a stranger's truck and refused payment. That simple act of kindness created opportunities he never lived to see. So if you're watching this today, and life has humiliated you, if people have laughed at your clothes, if you've been rejected, if you've cried because you felt invisible, don't quit. You never know who is watching. You never know which ordinary day will become the day that changes everything. One golden opportunity is all it takes. As the audience rose to their feet in applause, Daniel looked toward the sky. He whispered the words he wished his father could hear. We did it. Not because life became easy, but because he never stopped believing. And in that moment, he understood something that success could never teach. The greatest opportunities don't belong to the strongest, or the richest, or the smartest. They belong to the people who refuse to give up after the world tells them they're not enough. Sometimes, the greatest victory is choosing forgiveness instead of revenge, choosing hope instead of bitterness, choosing kindness, even after you've been hurt, because one act of kindness can echo through generations, and one golden opportunity can change thousands of lives. Sometimes, life doesn't reward the loudest person in the room. It rewards the one who quietly refuses to give up. Daniel waited years for one golden opportunity. When it finally arrived, it wasn't easy. It came wrapped in humiliation, fear, doubt, and painful memories. But because he chose courage instead of quitting, that single opportunity changed not only his own life, but the lives of countless others. Remember this: your greatest opportunity may arrive disguised as your hardest day. So don't walk away too soon, because the door you've been praying for may already be opening. If this story touched your heart, let us know in the comments what part moved you the most. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more emotional stories that remind us never to give up. Until next time, keep believing, because sometimes one golden opportunity is all it takes.